allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Deb, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, start time. Ms. Brenda, 6:01. Get a roll call, please.
Bonnie,
Here.
Brad,
Here.
Jennifer,
Here.
Faith,
Here.
Mike,
Here.
Paula.
Here.
All right, thanks, Council. Need a motion and a second to approve the minutes of meeting on August the 12th.
I'll make a motion.
Faith and Paula, okay.
Oops. Paula,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Mike,
I'll abstain on that, I wasn't here.
okay. Jennifer
Yes.
and Faith.
Yes.
All right, thank you all. All right, we're going to start with a presentation. I know I have Deanna here and a group of folks that are here. If you guys want to, if you will you come up here to this microphone up here, and if you'll push the top of the button up there, it'll turn green on you. If you'll introduce yourself, if you'll turn that button on first, there you go. And if you'll introduce yourself and address, and then tell everybody why you're here today, okay?
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, for having me. Council, thank you for having me. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Deanna O'Connell, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I'm here to discuss a matter of great importance and compassion. A proposal to establish a small memorial garden in Shepherdsville City Park, dedicated to the victims of domestic violence and child exploitation. This garden will not only serve as a serene and reflective space, but it will also be a powerful reminder of the ongoing struggle against this critical issue, particularly in Bullitt County. Today I want to share with you a personal story that underscores the need for this memorial. My cousin Jessica was a victim of unspeakable trauma. She was sexually abused by a family member and kidnapped, went missing for over 2 weeks. Tragically, her body was found after an exhaustive search. Jessica's story is a stark reminder of the horrific realities faced by many victims and the urgent need for awareness and action. In Kentucky, over 21,000 residents sought emergency shelter or services due to domestic violence in 2022 alone. Among these victims, approximately 40% were children. In Bullitt County, we had over 200 cases of child abuse or neglect reported last year. These statistics highlight the profound crisis affecting our community and the emphasis for the need for action and support. A memorial garden in Shepherdsville City Park would honor the memory of those like Jessica who suffered and lost their lives due to domestic violence and or exploitation. It would provide a space of reflection, healing, and remembrance, and additionally, the garden would raise awareness about these critical issues, encouraging community involvement in prevention efforts and support for victims. The garden would feature native Kentucky plants such as purple coneflower and butterfly milkweed, which attract pollinators and require minimum upkeep. A small bench would offer a place for visitors to reflect, and a plaque would provide information for contact for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, as well as the Domestic Violence Hotline. Creating this memorial garden is not just about planting flowers, but it's about planting seeds of hope, resilience, and change. It's about ensuring that the stories of those affected by domestic violence and child abuse, like Jessica, lead to a meaningful action and prevention. In conclusion, I urge you to support the establishment of this memorial garden as a testament of our community's strength and compassion. It's an opportunity to honor victims, support survivors, and raise awareness about these critical issues. I thank you for your time and consideration.
Yeah, just stay there for just a minute. So you all know this is the story of Jessica Dishon, if you don't know. And what we're going to do is, Deanna and I have talked. We all know the story. So the biggest thing is I want to make sure she knows that we're going to walk the park together, and we're going to find a nice place that we can put a nice remembrance and awareness.
Yes.
And I just wanted you to know that I appreciate you coming out. I know that wasn't easy, and I appreciate you have supporters who are with you. And I will tell you that we will put on a very beautiful memorial garden out there, and we'll have a nice place for it. So me and you are going to do that. We'll get together sometime in the next month. We'll go walk the park and try to find some suitable places. We got a lot of construction things that are going on in the park, but we're going to find a nice spot we can do that. So I want to tell you thank you. Thank you for being here. And I really am honored that you want to do this, because I think the awareness will be a big piece for everybody to understand.
I do too.
Yeah.
And it would be a great memorial for her.
God bless you.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right. Take care. Now.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Miss Courtney Bergen, come on down. Thank you all for coming out, by the way. Thank you all for being here.
So I have a couple of notes from the veteran side and economic development side, so I'll start with the veterans because that's my favorite part. Tomorrow at the American Legion Post 157, this is one of the first of its kind. We've invited representatives from the VA to come to the post to help our Bullitt County and surrounding area veterans, because there's plenty of resources in Louisville, and there are some resources in E-Town, clinics and other organized VA benefit support groups, but we really don't have any in Bullitt County yet. And so doing events like this will help illustrate the need and really create awareness and attention from those that are making the decisions on where to put those clinics. So we really want a great turnout. So if you have anybody in your family, your network, we want folks that are veterans, we want folks that are service connected in any way to come out and show support of this event. There's plenty of representatives from the different facets and departments of the VA that are going to be there. So we're really talking to everybody from someone who has served and doesn't even have a number or a VA card. You're welcome. Let's get that started, because you have no idea the money set aside for veterans just like you. Or if you are kind of connected, but maybe you're trying to identify, you read something or you saw something that maybe is affiliated with your time in the service, another reason to come. Make sure you understand every single benefit that you are entitled to. And people have mixed emotions about that, but the fact of the matter is the government has set aside millions and millions of dollars for these folks, and it's not doing us any good if people in our families and our communities qualify for the dollars, but they're not getting the dollars. So it can be anything from service-connected injuries and illnesses through education benefits and networking through scholarships for veterans specifically. So please, please, I just ask that if you know anyone that's service-oriented in any way whatsoever, at least come out and listen and make some connections, because you may not want to do it right now, but there might be a time where you want to get more involved and you want to understand about your benefits. The people that can help you will be at the post tomorrow starting at 6. And they said as long as we are signed in and ready to go, I believe it was 6:45 was the cutoff, they will stay as long as they need to make sure everyone's taken care of. So I'm really excited. Again, this is kind of a new event, and it's the momentum growing in our veteran community here in Bullitt County. It's undeniable, and this is a great example of how the VA is acknowledging that. Any questions about that? It's on the American Legion Facebook page. You can contact myself or Bill Laird, and we'll be happy to help you anyway, but just show up and we'll get you signed in and get started. Okay, so that's veteran related. Now let's go to economic development. We have lots of conversations on, but again, construction is, we are identifying the priorities and the ribbon cuttings that we've been doing and the groundbreakings. It's just super exciting, and we have a lot of attention from a lot of folks. It's going to be more exciting when we start to see that construction. So we are well on our way on so many projects. The thing that's coming up in the next few weeks is our Downtown Business Association meeting, and we talked about that the last time I spoke. That group has tripled since we started it. So to say that the need was there is an understatement. So the people who've already RSVP'd for the Downtown Business Association meeting in September, it's triple from where we started just from a year ago. So that's two things. One, because we're getting more information and we're getting more awareness and more folks are coming out, but also because we have different businesses there and we have new business owners. And so we really want to do everything we can. There's kind of 3 things we're focusing on. Number 1 is the local and state resources in the name of grants, scholarships, any program that's going to help that specific business get to where they're trying to go and achieve some goals. And that looks very different from the florist to a gift shop to the attorney's office to the coffee shop right there at the entrance to the park. All those people have different needs, but the good news is the cabinet and the Kentucky website has a ton of resources. We just want to make sure we're connecting every one of those businesses to someone who can help them with some of their needs. So that's number one. Number two, business to business opportunity. We want to make sure that Brant is aware of what Brandy at Bluegrass needs, and that everyone down that from CVS to First Harrison, it's that whole, the whole 6-block area. We want to make sure we're not leaving anyone out, and then we're recognizing everyone's business needs. And I genuinely want to know how to help you. What can I do to, when I'm in the community, how can I help your specific business? And that's, you know, when those business owners are there at the meetings and they can give us specifics on what to do, because some folks want to send you to their website. Other people want you to come in and introduce themselves, or maybe they themselves have lunch and learns. It's amazing. The more we get to know folks, the more it's interesting what they are needing from each other. So the business to business relationships are extremely important. And then obviously our local events. I want to make sure every one of those folks know how to get connected with the Mayor's Walk. If it's Light Up Shepherdsville, put a table out. You know, we're the Vietnam Veterans Parade coming up in March. I want to make sure they know and can prepare, because when you're a small business, you have very limited resources. Some of the businesses are larger than others, but if every single business in that area understands what's coming in October for Halloween, what we're doing for Light Up, what we're doing for the parade, they can take so much ownership in their block, in their space, and really come out and be proud. So that's really the focus of the meeting coming up. If you want to speak or you want to be a part of organizing and kind of talking about what we're facing as the downtown challenges, opportunities, I'm happy to get everybody involved. I feel like the more folks we get in this room talking about the needs of that area, the better off we're going to all be. So I'm really, really tickled with the progress of the Downtown Business Association. And then the other thing I just wanted to highlight for everyone is we are working on the Week of Honor, which starts on November 4th and goes through November 11th. And it's basically the week of Veterans Day. And so it's kind of economic development and VA, it's all of it together, because we are asking small businesses, large businesses, maybe you can host a coffee and just a little breakfast chat. And we want to bring all the veterans to have coffee and get to know other veterans in their area. We are going to do a couple of different things. We're going to offer a dance or yoga class. They're working on that to figure out which one. So we're trying to do some creative coping type therapy options, but just social options. And really the wall, the wall event, I think it reminded everybody in this community how special and how important it is to be proud of the veterans and the service folks that we have. And man, did people show up in droves, and they are thirsty for that. They want the connection, they want the connectivity, and it is my favorite when we can put veterans and service folks in the same room and they can get to know each other. So that whole week we're celebrating veterans, we're celebrating active duty families, we're doing everything we can to make sure they know when they come to Shepherdsville and you are a veteran and you are serving, or you have served, or your parents served, your husband served. We're proud of you, we love you, and we want to make sure you feel welcomed. So that's my update for now. Anybody have?
Would you send us an email with those dates and what's going to happen throughout that week?
As soon as we have like 3 things for sure, and everything else is still.
Okay.
So if you have any suggestions or you want to sponsor a day, you just reach out and think about any of the veterans in your network, any of the small business in your network, any way we can put people together. I want to make sure we're using all of our resources. I just want the veterans in our community to feel so appreciated and loved. But yes, I will definitely. I'll just say this is our, and I can just update you when we start filling in those spaces.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So I do think it's going to dynamically change down there when you see that all the, over the next couple of years, when those changes happen downtown. And I obviously looking at different things to be down there. We're always still looking for a local brewery and a kind of a pizza place down there, and all the different events and all the different activities in the park. Not just the things that we have set up in the city, but there's so many other things that go on in that park. Journey has their feature events. We just saw what Field of Grace did this last week. It was amazing. It was really amazing. I don't want to get too much into that, but they did. Heart of the City was just unbelievable last week. So we're going to see more of that. That should be a benefit to these folks. That just there's traffic coming down there. Now, what you do with that traffic, and how do you get them to stop in your place? That's kind of on you. But you got these people coming to that destination. I think that's gonna be a big piece for a lot of folks. So it's gonna continue to change. I think your group, obviously getting more people involved, knowing all the events that are going on at all times to kind of
Yes.
be prepared for that.
100%.
Maybe they open later a day because they're gonna stay later.
Yep.
They think that's gonna be more to their benefit. So, but I think downtown will definitely be changing.
Yes.
And it's gonna continue, because I think we
And-
find the things people want.
Yes, there's opportunities, and that's one thing I feel like really dedicated to making sure the resources that are available through the state and through other organizations, they're private grant. There's so many grants and so many opportunities. It's hard to qualify for those, but we do have businesses that will be able to qualify. It's just making sure we're aware of what those are and getting some of that money into our city, because there's opportunities.
We're gonna be working on that too. You know, we've got the two grants that
Yes.
you guys know about.
I mean, that's
We're applying
huge.
for the
Those are
downtown
game
area.
changers for
Yeah,
us.
and
Yep.
we're gonna see the historic buildings and like, yeah,
All
we're
right.
gonna put some money in.
I have two things.
Oh, sure.
When is the next meeting for the business?
It's September 24th,
Okay.
and
then
it's in
one
this
more thing.
room at 6 PM. Mhm.
One more thing. When is the new business on Buckland gonna open up?
Which one?
I think it's the coffee shop.
I don't know if he's got a date yet.
He had he's had a couple of setbacks. He keeps uncovering,
Okay.
like, I don't know if you've ever remodeled a building and found a whole well in the floor.
Two of
but
them.
he
It was a
did.
well?
And then he found another
Yeah,
one.
he's found
So
two
he's
of them.
found, there's
Two wells
three
inside the
Rip
building.
Rene murals and 2 wells he's found thus far. But I feel like he's demoed everything, so whatever he was going to find, he's found.
He's found it.
And so now it's just like, but that has definitely prolonged, yes, I
It's
swear to
pretty
you,
wild.
a
The wells are
well.
crazy.
A full water well, yes,
is that?
with crystal clear water in it, funny enough.
Yeah, and the water's
It's-
clear.
It's
Water's
unbelievable.
clear.
But then
At-
one
at
of the
the
Rip
auto paint
Rene
shop.
murals, he
He's
said,
making a coffee
it's
wine shop. I don't
awesome.
know.
It's beautiful, yes.
That's pretty
So
cool.
it's, I know
So
it's
it's still a
been
work in
delayed,
prog-
it's a work in
yeah,
progress.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
he's still in the
understand.
demo portion of that remodel.
Is it gonna be
He's
like
got-
a floor? Is it
Yeah.
gonna do like a
We're
circle?
excited.
That's exactly
He is.
what he's trying to do.
Well,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
you're gonna have
exactly
to
what
do.
he's trying to
Yep.
do, because how cool for a coffee shop to have like an actual well in the
Yeah,
floor.
what a great conversation piece.
Yep.
Yeah, just make
Yeah.
sure that glass
Yes,
is not
ma'am.
breakable and get good liability insurance.
That's coming from an attorney.
Yeah.
Do we have anything going on the playground yet, as far as, are we getting bids, are we?
So, yes, the bids are this week.
Yes.
The bids are this week for that section, which is all of the park projects over there.
Yeah.
They're being done right now. Hagerman's actually doing it, but they're not actually bidding. They're just gonna do the process.
Facilitating.
They're gonna
Yes,
facilitate the bidding. So this is the week, so in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna have that, because we need two things out of there, and Tanya knows one of them, is that we gotta have the vendor that's going to do what we call the ARPA building. No,
Right.
the $2.2 million has to be designated and has to be
Committed.
assigned before December 31st. So that's the first piece in that. So that's gonna come out in the next couple weeks. So that piece, but the playgrounds, all the equipment is here.
It's here?
It's here in the city. So we've got it all ready to go. And then, we've got all the equipment from the splash pad. And then there's gonna be a goggle box that goes with that whole area over there. And see, all that's gonna be fenced in. So what they're doing is getting all that done, because that's all of the projects, and then you got the site plan. Site plan is fencing, the pavement areas, things like that. You gotta
So
do
we're getting
those.
closer to getting it started.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you're gonna,
The
so.
Hagerman said at their meeting the other day that it would be started by the end of September.
Yeah, so but the thing is, they gotta start the stormwater,
For the
so gonna be the
ARPA
first
money.
thing. We gotta get that
Yes.
going
That's what he
first.
said, that would be the first part.
Because
So when
that's
they
the
start on
time-sensitive part, because
Yeah, they'll
that's
start
tied
that-
to the money
Yeah.
that we're getting, the ARPA
Yeah,
grant.
yeah.
So,
You-
but
I
yes,
would-
it is well underway.
Yeah, so probably on the playground, the probably best guess is because of the way the weather's gonna fall, I'm gonna tend to believe there may be some work done, but it'll be in the spring. It'll be like late February, early
Because they're
March.
gonna move, the excavation and all of that's the part that's.
Well, there's some areas
no
that- there's a
satisfaction in
floodplain.
that
It,
whatsoever.
at the beginning of spring is great, because that's when we're gonna start needing it, so.
Yeah, again, too, all this is permits, everything takes time, you gotta get
Yes.
all these permits and everything else, like even all the downtown area, we have to wait for KYTC to tell us when we can start moving all those lines, because they got to order, we found out today, it takes 9 months to build one of those black arms with the signal lights. They have to make them, they have to make that whole process, that apparatus, and we found out today, it's 9 months, so that we're getting it ordered, but when that can be down there, and then they gotta remove all the lines, all the telephone lines, everything, from Joby Hall to the river. It'll just be clear, you're just gonna see those
It's
two
gonna be so
signal lights.
nice.
Yeah, so it's gonna change that, but now, again, the rest of it to be done will be phased in as far as the next couple, 2, 3, 4 years because of the cost to do it. It costs $1 million from Joby back to 44 to take all that utilities and put them on the next line.
Wow.
It's a lot of
So
work.
before I go, if you'll just make sure, the September 24th date is the Downtown Business Association, and November 4th, we want to kick off the week of honor doing something small in the park where the wall, where that veteran memorial will be, even if it's unveiling a small statue that's going, but we want to, as the city, because we really want to kick off that week of honor by doing something, so just please mark that day on your calendar as well.
Yeah, it's the email that you send me, you can, yeah.
Yes, I will,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hey, also too, for you guys, just when it goes into this, when we actually break ground on that playground, U of L Hospital will be with us.
Yes, they've been
They're a
huge
partner of
partners.
ours. They're a
I mean,
partner.
and they're committed to.
Yeah, so we're gonna see some really good stuff, but I'm saying next spring, because a lot of this going on, but we gotta keep going. We got so excited, we got at least the aquatic center started. We had permits and stuff they had to wait on. It was like, thank you, Miss Courtney. All right, Amber Odell, come on up here. Amber was sick last week, so we, grandmother was sick, I'm sorry. Doing good, doing good.
So, I can't believe next week starts September. So, we have more events kicking off. We only have 4 markets left of this season. September 7th, the Bullitt County Health Department will have their Family Fest, which will be a part of the farmers market that day. Their events from 9 to 11:30, so they're going to utilize the half where the bullet blast rides were at. So they will have vendors there. Shepherdsville Fire Department will be out, and they're going to spray the kids that day. So it should be a good event for both of us. So come out for that.
That'll be considered a shower for the week.
September 7th.
That'll be their shower for the week.
9 to 11:30.
Hose them down.
And then at the end of September, that weekend, the 28th and 29th, it's going to be a busy day for the city. Journey Fall Fest is the 28th from 10 to 3. They will have 90+ vendors, live music, and then all the activities there for the kids are free. So bring the kids out for that. And then the following day, starting at 12, we have the food truck invasion with live music, craft vendors. Field of Grace will be providing the bounce houses for that day. And then, so that kind of wraps up September for us. And then we move on to October. We are doing the basketball and Gaga Ball free 7-week clinic starting October 5th, and it'll run through November 16th. It will be 9 to 10:30, and it'll be open to 1st through 5th graders. More information will come out in a couple weeks on that. And then we will have Pajama and Coffee Walk with Mayor Cabero, October 12th. So this will be a relaxing walk for a lot of us.
No color walk.
No color walk, that's just for May.
No more chalk, please. No more chalk.
So dress in your pajamas, come out. We will have coffee provided from Heine Brothers, a couple stations with that. And then I'm lining up somebody to do hot chocolate for those that don't like coffee. And then the turnaround will probably be doing the water station for us.
I want to ask, I'll add to that, that when we do that walk, we're actually going to have the trails. We think it's going to be the total 5K, 3.1. And right now it's a 2.7 as far as I had to actually mark it off. But what we're doing right now is we're going to take that back. They're going to at least have, they should have a trail for us to go behind the baseball fields and walk towards the river. And then come back south, following the river, and then taking it back. So you're going to start at Farmers Market. You're going to walk down the side of the cemetery, go past Saddle Club, go up to Frankie Simon, turn around, go behind the baseball fields, go down by the river, and then take it all back. It's about 2.7, but they're going to make more of that to actually make it official, because we'd like to see the high schools use it for cross-country, to give them kind of a home field they can use the park. Right? And then obviously, we'll be in charge of that.
So the fee for the walk is $20. You will receive a mug after the walk is over. The nonprofit for that will be the ALC Resource Center here in Shepherdsville. So ALC is a community resource that exists to support women and families facing or having faced an unplanned or crisis pregnancy. They encourage and equip women to make educated decisions about their pregnancy. So, so all those will go to their organization. And then October 19th, we will have the 2nd annual Kay Lurie's Halloween Spectacular, October 19th from 7 to 11. It's going to be at Paracut Springs Conference Center. Proceeds will go to North Bullitt, Bullitt Central, and Bullitt East Youth Service Centers, and then Bullitt Central's Youth Lunch account. And then we've also added this year that it will also sponsor youth memberships to the Aquatic Center.
for some kids. So we're gonna try to figure out, once we know exactly attendance, we don't have it on a homecoming Friday, so it's on a Saturday. We're gonna be in good shape. We actually did really well last year for it, but I think that we just didn't have any other dates available to us since somebody wanted to do it really quick last year. I don't know who that was. But this year we've got it all planned and we got it squared away, so it's on a Saturday. We'll be away at a homecoming of Jason Aldean concert, but I think it was last year. And we still had a good turnout and still raised $7,000. Clear money we sent all that money to Bullitt Central. $3,500 for the lunch program for the kids. Same kids are obviously gonna get the other $3,500 for school supplies and hygiene and school clothes. So it was really kind of a cool thing. But this year we wanted to, because we feel like that event is about the whole county. And we want to give some money to North Bullitt for the folks that everybody's coming, because not always just coming from Shepherdsville. So it was kind of a nice way, and give a small little bit to Bullitt East. It's not the same as it is out here, these demographics for North Bullitt and Bullitt Central, but it's a great way to be partners with the rest of the county as well. Did you mention the Oktoberfest?
No, not yet. It's not
No.
really a city event.
It's not
so-
really a city event, but we're actually just tinkering with somebody that's partnering for the, you want to talk about that?
So October Fest will be October 5th, 4 to 8 in the city park. Adam Kelty, he partners with the Gallant Fox Brewery out in Mount Washington. He came to Mayor and I a couple months back asking if he could do an Oktoberfest. So Mayor said, yeah, sure. So that will be October 5th. He's planning on having, I believe, 3 to 4 breweries out there, a couple of vendors, and of course food trucks. That's all related to the Oktoberfest. So, and then also live music.
It's
So-
really not a big event. We just want to see how it works. I mean, we got the 5th, the 12th, the 19th. It's going to be a busy month, and so we're just trying to see if that's something that really appeals to have something like I think it will eventually. It's just something again, short notice. This guy wanted to do it. We talked during the summertime. We said yes, let's give it a shot. So we'll see what happens there. Again, it's not a city event, but we obviously want to try to support it.
So this morning, E.J. Lanham, he is the pastor for Field of Grace. He came, and we've actually been talking about the Shepherdsville Community Center becoming the Dream Center. And so that will open hopefully November 4th, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from 3 to 6. They want to, hours of operations 3 to 6, like I said. They are wanting to really target Shepherdsville area, Shepherdsville Elementary, Bullitt Lake Middle, Roby, even have the high schoolers be involved with the program. Their mission statement is the Dream Center aims to provide a safe, supportive, and nurturing environment for young people to gather, learn, rest, grow, and dream. Our goal is to equip them with essential life skills, foster their personal development, and inspire them to pursue their dreams. EJ said they have talked to several local businesses already. Example, Steve and Donna, Dancer Steve and Donna, they're going to come and teach a dance class. The Dream Book Express, they're going to come and teach a literacy night. Then there's going to be a banking night that they learn about banking, writing a check. Just those essential life skills that they need to learn. Let's see. So more info will come out regarding that
November
once they
the
get
4th?
closer.
November the 4th.
November the
This
4th,
one,
yeah, that's what I
Yeah, I was
said.
gonna say, but on that though, that's kind of an attentive date. The building itself is in pretty good shape, and obviously we just did a remodel in that community center. But the biggest thing is that this is to help assist families if your kids go to school. We're still trying to work out I called Jesse Bacon today, that if they had one bus that would stop by the community center and drop off kids there, that parents could come there and pick them up if it's 5 or 6 o'clock, and where they can't, 3:30 they're gone, 2:30, and they got no place to be. And that's what we're trying to do. This is no cost. It's just a way to help some of these families incur that threat of how much more money I gotta pay to have my kid watch while I'm at work. And so we feel like this is a great opportunity again, for us to step up and say, hey, we can do this. And Field of Grace has been a wonderful thing. Met with them today, like Amber said, but we're going to be more than that. We just want to start 3 days out and see if we can get maybe some help here to help the kids continue what they want to do, dream.
And then last thing, winter will be here before we know it. So with that comes one of the city's big events, Light Up Shepherdsville. We would love to see local businesses have a float in the parade. So if you have any questions, please see myself or Courtney.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Amber.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. Lots of good stuff coming up. We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Amber.
Yep.
People have already started working on that.
Oh, we're not bringing up drama now. We're not, yeah, we'll have to tell that story another day. All right, well, before we get into, old business, just a couple of things. Council, you were given, I sent you an email on the medical marijuana. So it takes effect January 1. So what we want to do is, and maybe the next couple of weeks, I'll just try to reach out to you. Just want to get your thoughts, what you're thinking, because no action means it's gonna happen anyway. So it becomes effective in the state. It depends on how it's actually going to be handled in the county and the city. We do nothing at all. It's going to be in here that people can buy it. The operation piece is 48, there's 48 licenses. I think they were issuing out. They're pretty expensive.
Well, I do know that the court system, this court they've already decided to put it on the ballot, and so has Mount Washington and Hillview, so
I agree.
that's,
Yeah,
I think that's
have
how
no
it
problem.
should be
You
done.
got one of four options.
Let the people choose. Why should 6, 7 people choose?
No, we have those four options.
I know.
Yeah, so
But I
we
still-
can pick whatever one. Yeah.
I feel like the ballot,
One of the options is let the people vote. And we're saying let
that's
them
how I feel.
That's no problem. We don't
What
have
do
to
you
have too
think,
many more
Brad?
meetings.
vote. No, we don't.
No.
Just sitting there quiet.
We spend our time on it courtroom, right?
No, that's good.
Yep.
I mean, I appreciate that, because like I said, I know I said that to you. No, I think it works. I think that works. All right. So just, Jennifer had an open record, and I want to make sure you know that. What she's asking for, we're going to send to all of you. Okay, send all 6 of you.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
she's working on it. Tanya's doing her thing back there, and she knows the sewer wasn't bad, but you're gonna have ledgers and transactions of everything from all the bank accounts. All right, so you guys will get this. So give her a little bit of time. She's gonna try to have it done by business day tomorrow, but. End of day tomorrow. Right, yeah. I appreciate you doing that. Yeah, so we'll get, it's pretty extensive on the other one. We do like 700 transactions a month. So it's gonna be a little bit of work. She'll be in there with a little hat on and light on and knocking it out tonight. But anyway, so you will have that, Jennifer, so I want to make sure that all of you get it, okay? All right, with that said, Ms. Catherine, we have some second readings here that we're going to be doing. The first one is 024-028, amending an ordinance of 019-283.
Summary of ordinance 024-028, an ordinance amending ordinance 019-283 as amended of the city of Shepherdsville related to personnel and pay rate classification plan for city employees and non-elected city officers for the city of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, sponsored by Councilmember Paula Mangus. Summary, Section 1 sets forth that ordinance 019-283 is amended as follows. Section 2 sets forth that Section 2 is amended as follows. 1, to reflect the change of the maximum pay rate to $121,327.25 a year for finance director position. 2, to reflect the change of the maximum pay rate to $33 an hour for code enforcement officer position. 3, to reflect the change of the beginning pay rate to $30 an hour and maximum pay rate to $39.90 an hour for the assistant finance director position. 4, to reflect the elimination of the position of Parks and Recreation Administrator. Section 3 sets forth that Section 7 is amended as follows. 1, to reflect the creation of the Parks and Recreation Department and the positions, beginning pay rate, and maximum pay rate for each position. Section 4 sets forth that Section 9 is amended as follows. To reflect the elimination of the position of Parks and Recreation Administrator. Section 5 sets forth that Section 41 is amended as follows. 1, to reflect the elimination of certification post pay scales. 2, to reflect the addition of the position of Parks and Recreation Director and the job objective, primary job functions, education and experience, critical skill expertise, physical requirements, work environment, and reporting responsibilities of the position. Section 6 sets forth that Section 43 is amended as follows. 1, to reflect the addition of a longevity pay scale for the Parks and Recreation Department. 2, to reflect that any additional pay increases awarded shall not exceed the maximum pay rate of an employee or non-elected officer position. Section 7 sets forth the severability clause. Section 8 sets forth the repeal of prior ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Section 9 sets forth the publication requirement.
All right, basically, we just made the adjustments on the Parks Rec is the biggest piece in it, but we obviously have folks that are at certain wage rates. I don't know if there's been any questions from you guys. This is the second reading of it. Most of it, like I said, right now we're in the process. I've got Nikki working with our HR Alliance to get all those folks lined up for interviews. So they're taking their step now to get everybody in to get that set. So they're doing the filtering of all the resumes. Any questions about?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't at the last meeting, but I think in the minutes Brad brought up the fact of we passed raises, and and then we changed the amendment to match the raise.
Right.
Instead of complying with.
Yeah, so if you look at section 6, so if you look at section 6, paragraph 2, it kind of reiterates that going forward,
Pardon, I can't.
I said, in section 6, paragraph 2, going forward, that's why that clause is in there, so that future raises are bound to the salary caps that we put into the ordinance.
So we don't raise it.
Right, so
Yeah.
that'd be, that would make it incumbent on someone in the finance department or someone in administration to kind of run those numbers and see how those raises would affect each individual employee.
I haven't read the whole ordinance yet, but, I guess the other concern is that we've had, with our park director, we put an ad in the paper on August 1st. It runs until the 15th. We've had a meeting in between, and we wanna raise the limit on that. But we even haven't had applications or testing or anything. We don't know what these people, we don't know what an applicant wants.
So what we did was because of that, there was no turnout on basically, because we put the job description was extensive, and then we had no pay for it. We gotta give you all this responsibility, no pay. We saw that, that's why we made the adjustment. We went to HR Alliance, and then we actually put it through Indeed. We put it with correction on wages. The pay range had to be changed. So what we did, Mike, was we now set it up we did it back through the paper again, and back through Indeed and worked through HR. So we had to correct because of the fact that the rate didn't match the responsibility.
Okay. Well, there was so much good information in the Pioneer News that I missed, I must have missed that in there somewhere.
Todd, don't say nothing. All right, yeah, but we made the corrections, because it definitely needs to be looked at as far as what we were actually expecting out of that position. What was originally,
So we have applicants.
we do,
Okay.
We do.
Multiple applicants or
I'm sorry?
multiple?
Oh, we have
applicants?
plenty. We've had probably about 15, I
15.
think total, yeah.
All right, that's what the
Okay.
question I had.
No worries. All right, anybody else, Bond? All right, everybody else good? All right, I need a motion. All right, Paul for a motion. Need a second from Brad. All right, Miss Brenda?
Mike,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Kate.
Yes.
All right, council, thank you. All right, Miss Catherine? Following-
And Mike, one thing I told Brad, and we did put it in there so that it would be a safeguard, but when people are coming to you guys during the budget process about raises, you know, don't just assume that people will know the figures and have made sure. So one of the things is, hey, you know, what's their current pay? Does this exceed the maximum pay rate? And ask that. And that's totally your all's purview. Now, it's up to somebody else to go find those figures. You all don't know it. But that's very much a question for you guys to keep on the forefront when you're looking at giving raises to individuals is, where are they at? Would this exceed the pay rate?
You know,
And
and
ask
I've
that
noticed
question.
a lot of times in the past, it's just been across the board raises. So
Yes.
if you're doing across the board, whatever percentage or whatever dollar figure, I think the administration should know that
Yeah.
2%, 5%, 50 cents, a dollar, whatever, will put this position
Overpaid.
above that.
Yeah, we talked
whenever
about,
it comes to us.
yeah, Mike, it's 65% of our budget, okay? And that's where this all started. Obviously, we've got a good team working here. We've got to be more cognizant of exactly what we're doing with the investment, how we do it, when we do it, and what the cost is going to be, okay? So that's why a lot of this it's a great conversation. We had to make some adjustments for the Parks and Rec, but we've also come to the side conversation is, let's be better stewards. Let's look at some of this and make sure we're all doing our due diligence.
Because it may not be across the board. I mean, that's your all's purview, but it may not be across the board. And don't forget, the longevity pay, that's a 2% increase every other year. That doesn't affect the base pay. So when you're concerned about the cost of inflation and increases, that longevity pay is worked in for part of that purpose. So don't forget, and that does not affect the the minimum or the maximum pay rate.
So if that longevity happens to put a person above the upper limit, that doesn't count towards.
Correct, because the maximum pay rate is still that, they're only just getting that longevity. So that is correct, Mike, yeah. So just to clarify and understand, yeah.
Ms. Catherine? 024030.
Summary of ordinance 024030, an ordinance amending the Bullock County City zoning order and the Bullock County City zoning map as amended, changing the zoning of 1.19 acres more or less located at 150 Loves Road in the city of Shepherdsville, Bullock County, Kentucky, also known as parcel 04600000014, from IL Light Industrial to B1 Highway Business, sponsored by Councilmember Brad Whitaker. Summary, Section 1 sets forth that the Bullock County Joint Planning Commission held a public hearing on June 13th, 2024, docket number 0240Z-28, and recommended that the Bullock County City zoning order and the Bullock County City zoning map be amended to change the zoning of 1.19 acres located at 150 Loves Road, also known as parcel 04600000014, hereinafter subject property, from IL Light Industrial to B1 Highway Business. Section 2 sets forth that the City Council held its own public hearing on July 22nd, 2024. Section 3 sets forth that the City Council approves the recommendations of the Bullock County Joint Planning Commission. Section 4 sets forth the findings of fact that the current zoning classification of IL Light Industrial is inappropriate for use by Pride Truck Wash as a truck wash, and the proposed zoning classification of B1 Highway Business is appropriate for use as a truck wash and is compatible with Pride Truck Wash's use of its contiguous property and the surrounding area. Section 5 sets forth that the Bullock County City zoning order and the Bullock County City zoning map are amended to change the zoning of the subject property to B1 Business Highway. Section 6 sets forth a severability clause. Section 7 sets forth the repeal of prior ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Section 8 sets forth the publication requirements.
Yeah, and basically, that's just the free truck wash and Southeast Freight, and making some changes on the property. So, any questions on that? Anything? All right. Need a motion on that?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Oh, whoever. Jennifer.
Jennifer. All right. Ms. Brenda?
Faith,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Bonnie.
Yes.
All right. This goes to the other piece here. 024031 ordinance.
Summary of ordinance 024031, an ordinance amending the Bullock County City zoning order and the Bullock County City zoning map as amended, changing the zoning of 1.32 acres more or less located at 1116 Cedar Grove Road in the city of Shepherdsville, Bullock County, Kentucky, also known as parcel 04600000014B, from B1 Business Highway to IL Light Industrial, sponsored by Councilmember Brad Whitaker. Summary, Section 1 sets forth that the Bullock County Joint Planning Commission held a public hearing on June 13, 2024, docket number 2024Z-29, and recommended that the Bullock County City zoning order and the Bullock County City zoning map be amended to change the zoning of 1.132 acres located at 1116 Cedar Grove Road, also known as parcel 04600000014B, hereinafter subject property, from B1 Highway Business to IL Light Industrial. Section 2 sets forth that the City Council had its own public hearing on July 22nd, 2024. Section 3 sets forth that the City Council approves the recommendation of the Bullock County Joint Planning Commission. Section 4 sets forth the findings of fact that the current zoning classification of B1 Highway Business is inappropriate for Southeastern Freight Lines, Inc.'s use as a distribution center, and the proposed zoning classification of IL Light Industrial is appropriate for use as a distribution center, and is compatible with Southeastern Freight Lines, Inc.'s use of its contiguous property and the surrounding area. Section 5 sets forth that the Bullock County City zoning order and the Bullock County City zoning map are amended to change the zoning of the subject property to IL Light Industrial. Section 6 sets forth a severability clause. Section 7 sets forth the repeal of prior ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Section 8 sets forth the publication requirements.
All right. Again, the other piece of this swapping of property here. Don't know if we have any questions on that. All right. I need a motion. Brad?
I'll
Figured
second.
you did. That's fake. That's fake. That's
Go ahead.
All right. Racing to get that second one.
They are.
Brad, you got faith this time. All right, Ms. Brenda?
Paula,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Faith.
Yes.
All right, this is actually, these are the tax rates. We have set up here, Ms. Catherine is gonna read the first one here, 024-033.
Ordinance 024-033, an ordinance establishing the ad valorem tax rate for real property for the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky for the 2024 calendar year, whereas KRS 83A.130 to KRS 83A.150 and KRS 92.280 and KRS 92.330 require that the legislative body of each city levy an ad valorem tax for city purposes, and that this be done by ordinance to provide for sufficient revenue to operate city government. And whereas KRS Chapter 132 requires that this be calculated in accordance with the provisions of that chapter, now therefore be it ordained by the city of Shepherdsville, Bullock County, Kentucky. Section 1, an ad valorem tax rate of 12.04 cents on each $100 of assessed valuation upon all real property taxable for municipal purposes in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky shall be and is hereby levied for the 2024 calendar year as of January 1, 2024. Section 2, said levy is made for the purpose of raising revenue to pay salaries and officers and employees for repair and maintenance of streets, public ways, and public buildings in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, to pay for lighting of city streets, and to pay all proper charges and legal demands against the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Section 3, the assessment made by the Bullock County Property Valuation Administrator for state and county purposes for 2024 shall be and is hereby adopted as the assessment for city purposes. City tax bills shall be made from the Bullock County list in the Bullock County Property Valuation Administrator's books after they have been supervised and corrected by the County Board of Equalization. Section 4, the city clerk shall take the list of all persons subject to city taxation who are not shown on the Bullock County Property Valuation Administrator's books and shall add to the city tax rolls all real property, a portion of which is in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, where the value of the portion in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky is not shown on the Bullock County Property Valuation Administrator's books. Section 5, the Bullock County Sheriff shall be and is hereby directed to prepare tax bills for all persons and organizations in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, against whom said taxes have been levied. The Bullock County Sheriff is hereby directed to notify such persons and organizations by mail that on or after January 1, 2025 through January 31, 2025, any tax bill remaining unpaid will be declared delinquent and shall bear interest at 5% for that period. On or about February 1, 2025 through April 15, 2025, the interest shall be 10% plus a 10% add-on fee. The Bullock County Sheriff shall also indicate that a discount of 2% will be allowed on bills paid on or before November 1, 2024. Section 6, all payments of taxes provided for herein shall be made to the Bullock County Sheriff at P.O. Box 205, Shepherdsville, Kentucky 40165. Section 7, the city clerk is hereby directed to advertise this ordinance as provided by law. Section 8, the provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared severable, and if any section, clause, line, paragraph, or part of this ordinance shall for any reason be declared invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this ordinance. Section 9, all prior ordinances or parts of any prior ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Section 10, this ordinance is adopted in accordance with KRS 83A.060 in that it was introduced and given first reading on August 12, 2024, and given second reading on August 26, 2024, and shall be in full force and effect upon publication pursuant to KRS Chapter 424.
All right.
I'll make a motion, but I also want to let people know that it's lowering. It's not getting raised.
Yeah.
This tax is, it's real estate tax, so it's going to be lowered and not raised.
Yep. All right. Ms. Brenda?
Brad,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Paula.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, council.
That was the best thing I voted on.
Yeah, I think when we can lower it, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, so this is actually going to be ordinance 024-034.
Ordinance 024034, an ordinance establishing the ad valorem tax rate for motor vehicles and watercraft for the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky for the 2025 calendar year. Whereas KRS 83A.130 to KRS 83A.150 and KRS 92.280 and KRS 92.330 require that the legislative body of each city levy an ad valorem tax rate for city purposes, and that this be done by ordinance to provide for sufficient revenue to operate city government. And whereas KRS Chapter 132 requires that this be calculated in accordance with the provisions of that chapter, and whereas KRS 134.800 and KRS 134.810 require that ad valorem taxes on motor vehicles and watercrafts be collected by the city clerk, and that such taxes shall become due and delinquent as set forth in KRS 134.810, and that such taxes not paid when due shall be subject to the penalty and interest as specified therein. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, Section 1, an ad valorem tax rate of 12.5 cents on each $100 of assessed valuation upon all motor vehicles and watercraft taxable for municipal purposes in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, shall be and is hereby levied for the 2025 calendar year as of January 1, 2025. Section 2, said levy is made for the purpose of raising revenue to pay salaries and officers and employees, for repair and maintenance of streets, public ways, and public buildings in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, to pay for lighting of city streets, and to pay all proper charges and legal demands against the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Section 3, these taxes shall be collected by the Bullitt County Clerk as provided by KRS 132.487 et al., and the city clerk is hereby directed to forward to the Department of Revenue, Office of Property Valuation, 501 High Street, Station 32, 4th floor, Frankfort, Kentucky, 40601, a 2025 motor vehicle tax rate classification for the 2025 calendar year. Any tax bill remaining unpaid for 60 days after the due date as established by the Commonwealth of Kentucky will be declared delinquent and bear interest at 6% per annum or 1/2 of 1% per month or a fraction thereof until paid. And in addition thereto, a penalty of 10% of the amount for general purposes shall be added for non-payment when due. Section 4, the provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared severable, and if any section, clause, line, paragraph, or part of this ordinance shall be for any reason declared invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this ordinance. Section 5, all prior ordinances or parts of any prior ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Section 6, this ordinance is adopted in accordance with KRS 83A.060, and that it was introduced and given first reading on August 12, 2024, and given second reading on August 26, 2024, and shall be in full force and effect upon publication pursuant to KRS Chapter 424.
All right, Catherine, thank you for doing that. You got one more fun one after this one. All right, yeah, so this is obviously the vehicles and watercrafts.
And it's remaining the same.
It's remaining the same.
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
make a motion.
I'll
Okay.
second. Oh,
Jennifer,
Paula.
either one, Paula seconded?
Yeah.
All right. Ms. Brenda?
Paula,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
Jennifer,
yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Bonnie.
Yes.
Just so you all know, we're actually getting this done on the second reading because the county has asked us to have everything done and ready to go when they start in September, putting everything together. So we're obviously going to use this month always to get all this information done. All right, we have one more, Ms. Catherine. 024-035.
Ordinance 024035, an ordinance establishing the ad valorem tax rate for tangible personal property and property of public service companies for the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky for the 2024 calendar year. Whereas KRS 83A.130 to KRS 83A.150 and KRS 92.280 and KRS 92.330 require that the legislative body of each city levy an ad valorem tax for the city purposes, and that this be done by ordinance to provide for sufficient revenue to operate city government, and whereas KRS Chapter 132 requires that this be calculated in accordance with the provisions of that chapter, now therefore be it ordained by the city of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky. Section 1, an ad valorem tax rate of 12.5 cents on each $100 of assessed valuation upon all tangible personal property and property of public services companies taxable for municipal purposes, except property assessed by the state, in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky shall be and is hereby levied for the 2024 calendar year as of January 1, 2024. Section 2, said levy is made for the purpose of raising revenue to pay salaries and officers and employees for repair and maintenance of streets, public ways, and public buildings in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, to pay for lighting of streets, and to pay all proper charges and legal demands against the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Section 3, the assessment made by the Bullitt County Property Valuation Administrator for state and county purposes for 2024 shall be and is hereby adopted as the assessment for city purposes. City tax bills shall be made from the Bullitt County list in the Bullitt County Property Valuation Administrator's books after they have been supervised and corrected by the County Board of Equalization. Section 4, the city clerk shall take the list of all persons subject to city taxation who are not shown on the Bullitt County Property Valuation Administrator's books and shall add to the city tax rolls all property, a portion of which is in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, where the value of the portion in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky is not shown on the Bullitt County Property Valuation Administrator's books. Section 5, with respect to personal property and property of public service companies, the Bullitt County Sheriff shall be and is hereby directed to prepare tax bills for all persons and organizations in the city of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, against whom taxes have been levied. The Bullitt County Sheriff is hereby directed to notify such persons and organizations by mail that on or after January 1, 2025 through January 31, 2025, any tax bill remaining unpaid will be declared delinquent and shall bear interest at 5% for that period. On or after February 1, 2025 through April 15, 2025, the interest shall be 10% plus a 10% add-on fee. The Bullitt County Sheriff shall also indicate that a discount of 2% will be allowed on all bills paid on or before November 1, 2024. Section 6, all payments of taxes provided for herein shall be made to the Bullitt County Sheriff at P.O. Box 205, Shepherdsville, Kentucky 40165. Section 7, the city clerk is hereby directed to advertise this ordinance as provided by law. Section 8, the provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared severable, and if any section, clause, line, paragraph, or part of this ordinance shall for any reason be declared invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this ordinance. Section 9, all prior ordinances or parts of any prior ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Section 10, this ordinance is adopted in accordance with KRS 83A.060, and that it was introduced and given first reading on August 12, 2024, and given second reading on August 26, 2024, and shall be in full force and effect upon publication pursuant to KRS Chapter 424.
All right, thanks, Catherine. Again, last of the three.
I'll make a motion. I want to let everybody know it's staying the same, right?
That's correct.
And I'll second.
All right, Jennifer's got a second on that. Ms. Brenda?
Bonnie,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Paula.
Yes.
All right. Council, thank you for getting that, then meeting our obligation on there. So for new business, the very first thing on there, you don't have it on there.
Yeah.
It wasn't on there, but we do need to make sure this is noticed. We had a publication in the paper for our proposed property tax rate, and we're required to have a hearing. And we just want to make sure, we had a book out here, we had it, and we want to make sure, is there anybody that wanted to speak about the public notice of the 2024 proposed tax rate public hearing? Is anybody here for that? We normally don't have anybody here for that, from what I've gathered.
We have to do this.
Yes, we have to do this. We got to make sure that we officially make a note that we've actually offered in our meeting. So that is complete. Now, back to what you have on your agenda. 8.1 is holding the second public hearing for the Mitchell Patricia Hagan. Come on up here, Mr. Peyton Griffin. How are you, buddy? Yes, yes.
All right, guys. Well, I answer to either Hayden, Peyton, you call me. We answer to both. It sounds so similar. It's Starbucks, it's either Aiden, Peyton, Hayden. Doesn't matter. But, it's good to be back with you all. So, just to briefly kind of recap where we were last time. So, I represent the Hagans. They've got a tow lot. It's currently B1. They were told by the county it needs to be IL. We just kind of had a little gray area, kind of going back and forth on what the best thing to do was. So we've worked closely with your city attorney here, who's been really helpful, and we think we've come up with a good compromise.
Thank you all.
And so what this is, and what you've got, I believe all of you have a copy here. this is a zoning restriction agreement that would put into writing and be recorded for the Hagens. Basically, what it would do is they would go to IL, however, they would remain with B1 uses with IL restrictions, which is more restrictive, as you all know, than B1. And if they wanted to use this property for anything other than a tow lot, and it was an IL use, they'd have to hire me or somebody else and come back in front of you and get that approved. So they cannot add a warehouse, they can't do anything like that. And what this, I think, shows, what it highlights is really all they're asking. They just want to get in compliance. They want to keep using this as a tow lot. I'm not confident that their current tenant is going to be there much longer. It sounds like they're probably on the way out in November. They're going to be looking to bring a new tow lot in. So that's kind of where we are with it. This would be recorded. It would show up in the title work. It would be in the deed room. And so that eliminates that. I know we were a little bit worried about, hey, they've agreed to these things in planning and zoning, but how do we enforce that? Well, that's what this is. It's an enforcement mechanism.
Lonnie, go ahead.
I get exactly what you're doing, and I understand that. My problem with it is, are we setting a precedence? They got approved to be B1. That property was approved B1. There's nothing that says anywhere in any of their zoning laws that says it can't be towing. Nowhere. The other lots, majority of the other lots in Bullitt County are B1. Now, they're going to grandfather them now. Now that they've decided all of a sudden they want to change the rules in midstream for whatever reason, they're going to grandfather them in, but they actually haven't even made the changes and made the rules. Why can't they grandfather as well, since they're already B1?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm thinking that we're giving the county a control of, they just get to change their mind and they'll get, you're playing a game of cards, here's the rules. Well, I don't like how we're going, so let's change the rules. There's no going through an ordinance, there's no vote, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
We're just changing the game in the middle of it.
Did they notify them anyway? Because I had him in the office today, and I forgot, I was gonna ask him that question. What gave him the directive to do that?
well, I mean, that's how they interpret IL regulations to include tow lots. Now, I know what you all are saying is that you don't see it in there. That is his interpretation.
One person's interpretation.
Correct.
Right.
So his job, Charlie's job, is to enforce the zoning regulations. So when there is a gray area, that does fall on him. That just does. So currently, the way to address these so that potentially these property owners aren't in this like weird gray area between maybe a disagreement between the city and the county is the zoning restriction agreement. I had an hour-long conversation with Hayden. It was a lot of fun. You all should have been on that conversation. It went from nice to not so nice to back to nice. And, when it came to, he's like, so you guys are never going to do zoning restrictions? I said, no, not never. But there's no way to enforce this. So we worked on this together. They sent a draft over to me. I can show you all the red because I changed quite a bit. Ask him, he saw it. I mean, it had a lot of I added a whole paragraph 3 saying this is a covenant that runs with the land because that's what it has to say. I added that they have to record it because they just had that at closing they would basically ensure it's in there. But I wanted it to come up in a title search because that's how we're going to hold that future owner to enforce this, because I'm not going to be told by this future owner, well, I didn't know
I think what you did was great. I really do. But
I think that this could be, for this situation and these individuals, this could be a short-term solution. Then we go back, then you all, not me, but you all as the council, if you don't like the way these zoning regulations are interpreted and you want to change that, then we can go through that process where we draft up, a resolution that contains language about, okay, if you're in the city of Shepherdsville, tow lots are going to be in this zoning with these restrictions. I guess arguably we could even create our own zone for tow lots. I don't know what that would be, but at any rate, and we could work on that and take our time
and not rush that process, because I think we want to be very thoughtful and diligent about where we want to put tow lots. I don't necessarily know that you guys want tow lots in every area that could be B1, right? Do you want it right there on Highway 44 where you just put the salon? Maybe not. Maybe you do. I don't know. These are questions, though, that I feel like need some consideration and you all time. So this was kind of a workaround of how can we keep these people in compliance without just totally rezoning that area light industrial, free and clear, and make it enforceable against them as well as the future property owners, until such time that they come back and ask to be, ask for a full light industrial rezoning. And I don't know when or if that would happen. I mean, I would think that if the other 500 acres around there that are zone light industrial start building warehouses, then these property owners might come back and say, hey, there's 500 acres. We'd like to be included in that. But this is only 5 acres. I don't think most warehouses want just 5 acres. So, but that was a way. So, Bonnie, I get your concern, and the way we address that is we can prepare a resolution where we outline exactly how tow lots are going to be zoned, what are the restrictions we want in terms of landscape and all of that. We send that over to the Planning Commission. They vote to either, approve the recommendation or not. And then regardless of whether they approve it or not, it comes back here. And if they approve it, then great, we'll follow their approval. And if they don't, then we override it and we adopt it for the city.
Yeah, they were trying to
But that
expedite it for the
process
Hagans.
for you guys is really gonna take,
gonna take some
realistically.
time.
I get what you're doing and I get what you're saying. I'm still gonna vote no.
Okay.
Because I feel like the county is bullying them. I think that it's wrong what they're doing. Everybody else gets the grandfather in there. It was already approved as B1. This is the wrong thing to do to these people. I don't want to set a precedence that the county can just decide one day they want to do something and go ahead and do it. It's not right. The little people matter.
Well, nobody's saying that we're not going to do that.
Right.
What we're just saying is, there's gonna be a length of process, what she's telling you is gonna
I
take.
understand.
So, but it is, but right now, we're being considerate to those people that live there. So they get a peace of mind after this. So they get a peace of mind of how their property's gonna be dealt with. They know that if anything happens, they've got it deeded out anyway. And that's the restrictions that we wanted. The rest of this, like she just said, now, when we get done with this piece, we start working on what we want. If we want exactly what we want to classify what B1 as far as towing companies are. That's all that is. You're just giving these folks have been, I'm sure they've had some sleepless nights just wondering what's happening to their property.
Right.
We're gonna give them, we want them to be comfortable while we're working on how we're gonna fix it. That's all that is. So granted, I understand, Bonnie, but again, we're doing the right thing for them right now, and then we're gonna attack the problem the way we think it is, okay?
Yeah.
Bonnie, how many other tow lots do we have in the city of Shepherdsville? Do you know, Ralph?
Per Charlie's email, that I forwarded to you guys, and this is why we actually had a second hearing, because I wanted you all to have that information and then be able to consider it, and the only way you all really could is to have this other hearing. But according to him, I think he said that there are 4.
I said that was 3, but.
And I think one was, hang on, so you got Anthony's Towing, that is actually light industrial. Troy's at 870 Preston North is B1.
And that's in Hillview, not in Shepherdsville.
And that has been around since '04. So he said, so unless they expand, that would grandfather them in. Now, if they want to expand or anything like that, they'd have to come into compliance, he said.
Jerry's is light industrial only because the property was light industrial when he bought it.
He said total towing and recovery is B1. But again, it looks like they've been that since '03, so again, they're. He did not give me an address, so I don't know that. And then Troy's Wrecker Service on Coral Ridge, he said is actually general industrial.
That was something, he's not there anymore.
No, he's not.
But anyway.
So, and listen, this is, I told Charlie this, but this is also the problem. These zoning regulations are from 1987.
Yeah.
We've not had a total overhaul. This is the problem when you have things that are 40 years old, that we've not updated our regulations with the growth of our city. And so here we are, you know, trying to do the best we can. So, I talked to Charlie. He doesn't love the zoning regulations. I did ask him, I said, hey, are we gonna work on these? And he said, as soon as we get the comprehensive plan done, they do plan on overhauling. And I think what you're gonna find is more zoning regulations than just the 4 categories that we have. You look at some cities and they have like 9 or 10 different categories. With different requirements and all of that.
Things have changed, so there needs to be.
I foresee that happening down the road as well. And so, you know, but that's why we did this. This was, because I think that based on talking to Charlie, based on what we know is happening in our community, that this is all gonna be overhauled within the next 3 to 5 years anyway. This is something I would call temporary in the sense of it fixes this issue, it resolves this specific, it's very fact specific, Bonnie. We don't have to do this necessarily for every time. These are very special, specific circumstances, in my opinion. I don't think that any owner that just comes in and says, well, I want this or I want that. I think if you guys have a disagreement with Charlie's interpretation, because it's not specifically spelled out, what we'll need to do is change that zoning regulation. But in the meantime, because that's gonna take so long, the issue is if you don't have the problem with them running the tow lot, then if you guys do decide, okay, we're gonna rezone it with these specific restrictions, and they can only operate as a tow lot, well then if the tow lot can be operated in what is deemed a B1, it becomes somewhat of a moot point, because now tow lots in the city of Shepherdsville are B1. But I will say, like, you know, Peyton pointed out, they actually have a little bit more restrictions with this light industrial on the tow lot. They're gonna have to put up higher fencing, more shrubbery between them and their neighbors, which might be a good thing. I mean, it can't be a bad thing to have more greenery and more, you know, something between the properties. It can't be harmful to have more than less. So I guess that would be the benefit of that. But this makes it to where it will be enforceable, you know, against these current owners, because they will sign, as well as future owners, which was always, you know, my main concern. And so I think it relieves that. And then we'll just, obviously as a city, this will just have to stay on our radar. You know, now again, it's a.
So, question.
Yes, ma'am.
Then if, say we approve the ordinance that I sponsored tonight, he can still do what he's doing, right, with the county? This has nothing to do with us, right? They're not signing this with us.
Yes, they are. That's between us and them. It's actually not really between the planning commission, because the planning commission actually does not make any decisions. They just make recommendations. We're the ones that adopt it. So if we override it, then it stays a B1. And as far as Charlie's concerned, they cannot operate that tow lot. He will start fining them or doing whatever. Now, I mean, if Charlie knows we're working on redoing it, would Charlie hold off? I have no idea, but Charlie doesn't have to. Technically, they would be out of compliance and they could be fined.
All right, so I don't know what everybody else feels. I'm not gonna hurt these people for
That's the reason why this is
me
happening.
standing up for them. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm standing up for your clients is what I'm doing.
No, I understand, Bonnie,
I'm
and I
not
agree
gonna,
with you.
I'm not gonna hurt your clients by fighting against this. But I do wanna pursue us doing our own ordinance on that, because we need to protect people like that from people who
We're
are
gonna
just
dig in
making
more
their own
why this is the
personal
case.
decisions.
That's what we need to find out. We've got a lot on our plate.
I've talked to Charlie. It's vague in the zoning, and that's the way he interprets it. There's no more answer than that, Jose.
No,
It's just the way.
You missed my point. I would like to find somewhere else that they have it, where there's other
Oh,
county.
well, I've looked.
county.
I've researched. I've got answers for you.
Okay.
I have
Well,
looked.
I'll get with you then, all right?
But believe it or not, actually,
Most of them.
many zoning regulations are silent on tow lots. The few that I have found, now, then you gotta go back and kind of read, because they don't zone like we do, you know, so then you gotta go back and go, well, they're zoning it in this, what's that most compatible to? Most seem to put it in more of what we would consider light industrial, but some do put it in a business highway, you know, a little bit, so.
I would tend to believe if, wherever you put it, the restrictions should be pretty tight on it because of what it is. I mean, just the appearance of it, I mean, the security of it, I mean,
When I
that's,
had mine, the appearance was excellent, and I put up slats in the fence on all sides where there was residential. Never got any complaints from any of the residents. But yes, I kept it up to what the regulations were, and even better. And yes, we need to have our own regulations. I agree with that.
we'll work on that.
So, but I'm not gonna hurt your clients.
Okay.
Okay.
But I want planning to zoning Charlie to know I'm not happy with him, and I don't even know him.
Yeah.
And I'm
He
not happy
knows.
with him.
He knows.
He knows. I need to talk to that man.
Mike?
Also, Peyton, it was just a short while back, the planning and zoning sent to us a recommendation on a property on 44 East that was zone B1, is stipulated that it could only be used for this purpose. And it wasn't anything to do with industrial,
No.
okay? It was just one of all the legal businesses that could have been on that property. And we overturned that and took that portion out,
Right.
yet we want to leave this one
Right.
in.
Because that's what the client is requesting,
Right.
not what planning and zoning is requesting.
So, and the other thing I find particular, you talk about being behind schedule. Maybe Peyton can earn a few extra bucks researching this, but, Clint Manningly has made it accessible for all the elected officials, and I think he's working on the public in general, to ease their caseload, to go to their websites and look up properties, okay? This property that we're going to rezone from B1 to IL, according to PVA, is residential.
And that's because when the ordinance was approved by city council in 2022 to change it to B1, that just never got updated in the PVA system.
Yeah, unfortunately, PVA is a little bit behind on a lot of those.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately, it's nothing personal. We hear that a lot. We're short-staffed, don't have the funds. And
Now
so-
we got this new thing, right, Mayor, with the
got this new
GPS
thing, right.
markings and the actual surveyor
Yeah, so that
markings?
they have plats that, a discrepancy, we haven't had two surveyors on the property with the paper.
Right.
And I can tell you that he's got a plat that has that, exactly that, but they're both gonna do it again, because there are some things that aren't updated yet, right? But I do think, Mike, with all that said, you know, that happens to every entity as far as that, because the PVA is way behind. I mean, they didn't do property valuations for years on properties. And so it's been kind of a culture shock in that piece. But it goes back to this too, being residential, we know what it is. I mean, obviously it was voted in, like you just said, 2022. So we just need to get, I think right now, were you all comfortable with the fact that we're gonna take care of these folks, and then we'll regroup here and we'll put something together that we can say the
We're not
cities-
gonna regroup, no, we've gotta have a first reading tonight.
No,
'cause
no, no,
we've
no,
gotta have a second
no, you
reading.
missed my point. We're doing this. We're gonna
Alright.
go to Bonnie's mission
Okay,
afterwards.
that's fine.
Stay
We cannot,
focused.
no.
Stay focused.
So what do we need to do with mine then? Do we need
So-
to just withdraw mine, or did you make both? One
I
for,
actually came
You had
prepared,
both.
and I made both, and we've not even introduced yours, so
Okay.
we don't have to do really anything. We can kind of almost just supplant the new one.
okay,
And so, what, in this one, I think what we would say, because, you know, our findings of fact, I think what we would say in this one is that, you know, B1 is inappropriate. This would be what I would, you all give me yours, but it does not meet, what they're asking for does not meet the comp plan. So that is out. I don't know that it meets the third requirement, that there's been major changes, because although there's now 500 acres around there that's been zoned light industrial, nothing's changed. It still looks the same. And although the new interstate's there, that was actually discussed in the comp plan. So arguably that was anticipated. But we can use those for the second reason, which is the current zoning of B1 is inappropriate and the proposed light industrial is appropriate. And we can say it's inappropriate because there's no other B1 properties around it. It's either light industrial or residential. And and light industrial is appropriate because although it's not been developed, 500 acres around there is already zoned light industrial, and the interstate has changed that area, I think somewhat physically, and even socially in how it's used now. So that could be the second reason, because one of your three reasons can be that the current zoning is inappropriate and the proposed is appropriate.
I still vote no just for purpose, but
Do what?
I'm still gonna vote no for purpose.
You can vote no, okay. So, does anybody else have any questions about the zoning agreement? Because this is what's real, we're gonna put this in the, this is going to be an exhibit to the ordinance, and in fact, I'm actually gonna read this in a summary, so then when it gets published in the paper, everybody around has notice. But does anybody have any other questions about this? Any other, concerns?
I had one more thing that I
Yes.
hadn't addressed. Also on this, which obviously is behind for whatever reason. And I intended to go down and look at it, but I didn't have time today, and I probably will try to in the next couple of days. There's a deed number for this property.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna happen if there is a deed restriction? I believe you put a restriction on some property in your family, didn't you not, Bonnie? What's gonna happen when somebody goes and looks at the deed and finds out that there is a deed restriction that makes all this for nothing?
That makes all what for nothing?
For nothing.
Makes,
In other words, there is a restriction on the deed on the property here that basically says you can't change anything, right? You can't change anything
I
for a
would
certain
think
amount of
they've
time.
already done the title research on that property, correct?
Right, so, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding, Mike, so this would go in the so if anybody wanted to sell this property, this restriction would pop up in the title work with the deed.
Okay.
You would get a summary, and that would be something that, Hayden and I, we do closings, and this would come up.
So
and
somebody
show-
has already looked at the existing deed.
Sure.
well, they will when they're going to purchase it,
Yeah, if
yes.
they're going to purchase or sell, yeah.
The existing deed that's
Okay.
already, that Hagen's has, does not have a restriction on it. That's what he wants to know.
Correct, it
Correct.
does
Yes.
not.
Correct.
It does
Okay.
not. So then what you do,
So they would have researched, should have, this deed before they reissued
You
the
gotta
new
do a title,
deed.
do a title search.
well, so like, I don't know who's they, nobody's researching anything at the moment.
Well, the current Hagens, if they purchase this property, wouldn't you wanna have
Yeah, so like,
search?
let's say
Right.
let's say that this becomes effective and they file the paperwork and they go to sell it next month.
Mm-hmm.
When the title search attorneys, because there's attorneys that do this, when they run the title search, they will find that deed, but they will find that paperwork because it pulls up everything related
Right.
to that deed. So even though that original deed won't have it in there, although you could arguably go back and change that, but even though it won't, it will pull this up and it will pull up this restriction. That's how the future potential owners
Right.
learn about this restriction. So before they buy it, if you're right, if they go to that and all of a sudden it says light industrial, and they're thinking, oh, we got 5 acres of light industrial, we can build a warehouse. As soon as they run the title search, they're gonna see, oh, no, we can't. It's
So
only
if the
for a
Hagens-
tow lot.
If the Hagens get this changed from B1 to light industrial,
Mm-hmm.
they can't do anything
Right.
that falls into the light industrial.
Other than a tow lot.
Is that correct?
That's right.
Other than a tow lot. They can do everything at B1. They can run every business under B1 that they want, so can the future owners.
Yeah.
But if they want to run light industrial, the only thing they would be able to run is a tow lot, unless they come back to the planning commission and to the council to essentially rezone a light, get this restriction waived. They can't go to the Board of Adjustments. They can't go, is there anybody else they can go to? There's nobody else they can go to. Right here,
No other boards.
No.
right here.
Okay.
So, are they zoned light industrial or B1?
They would be zoned light industrial.
Operating as B1.
No.
They are B1, it's gonna be light industrial.
Because they can have any B1 business.
Yes.
Right.
It's
that for
just a
everyone?
technicality, is all it is to keep them,
Yeah.
the county off their back.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, county?
Yes, so they
Ridiculous.
would be, I mean, I guess, you know, they could, for PVA purposes, they could put on there if they wanted to for HUD zone B1/IL. But I think most times you can, I don't know if our zoning regulations say that light industrial can run B1, probably not,
I've
but
seen it written before, like IL with B1 restrictions, like you'll see, you know, in some other counties and other places, they'll put it, kind of phrase it like that, so. Just assume
I
that
don't
they
know
would
if
do
that's
here.
how we would do it.
Yeah.
But that is what it would be. Technically, it would be zone light industrial, but they could operate any B1 business within it.
Would we eventually do this like a text amendment or not?
So this right here, no, this we're gonna do as an ordinance, amending just like we would any other time, amending the, map. And the way that it's gonna read is that this is gonna be an exhibit, with all the, you know, so it'll be amended with the restrictions as in this exhibit. And we're gonna, you know, that's how we're gonna do this one. Now, to address Bonnie's concern, that, you know, long-term, we would do a text amendment. And the way we would do that is by resolution, sending that over to the planning commission, them doing their thing, and then it coming back to us. And you guys then voting on it. That's how we would do that long-term. But I see that, guys, being like, by the time we really write ours and really think through it and vote, and then get it over them, and then they discuss it and vote, and then back, and it's now September, I'm thinking that'd be early next year before we got that done.
Yeah.
Well,
Realistically.
you may have some whole new opinions on this whole thing
I know
by
it,
then,
yeah.
you know?
Okay, well, there's that too. I mean, so there's that too, yay. So, hey, Mike. So does anyone want to, I guess, do an ordinance that approves, basically, that amends the map with the restrictions in the zoning? In other words, like, because I've got a summary that I can kind of read, and we can kind of tinker with it as a read if necessary, but I don't know if anybody wants to sponsor this.
I was gonna say, I will.
It's like going once, who's sponsoring it, Brad?
Brad, he
Like,
called it.
going once, going twice, so did the house bidder. All right, so,
Oh, I'll support Brad, I'll second that, sure.
No, he's just a sponsor.
you want to be a co-sponsor, Mike? Okay, I'll put you as a co-sponsor.
Got one more to go.
All right, so I'm going to start reading this. We can kind of rework, we can redo this, and I'll have to start over, but we can read this, because unfortunately, we've got to have the second reading by the next meeting, so I can't amend, we got to just do this. So this will be the summary of ordinance 024032. This is what's going to be published. An ordinance amending the Bullitt County City Zoning Order and the Bullitt County City Zoning Map as amended, changing the zoning of 5.2 acres more or less located at Cooper Run Road and Bel Air Drive in the city of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, also known as parcel 037 SE00117C from B1 Highway Business to IL Light Industrial. Sponsored by Councilmember Brad Whitaker, co-sponsored by Councilmember Mike Hibbard. Summary, Section 1, sets forth that the Bullitt County Joint Planning Commission had a public hearing on June 13, 2024, docket number 2024Z31, and recommended that the Bullitt County City Zoning Order and the Bullitt County City Zoning Map be amended to change the zoning of 5.2 acres located at Cooper Run Road and Bel Air Drive, also known as parcel 037 SE00117C, hereinafter subject property from B1 Highway Business to IL Light Industrial. Section 2 sets forth that the City Council had its own public hearings on July 22nd, 2024, and August 26, 2024. Section 3 sets forth the following findings of fact: that the current zoning classification of B1 is inappropriate, and we're gonna say, we're gonna say because no other properties
in the area are zoned B1, is that correct? Is that kind of what we're? And that the proposed zoning classification of IL is appropriate, and that we're gonna, I think I've got this written out somewhere else. Is appropriate, and we're gonna say, because there are properties in the area totaling over 500 acres that have been zoned IL. These properties touch the subject property. Additionally, the construction of the new interchange has changed the physical and social nature of the area. Does that sound okay to everybody? Any other reasons? Anything else? Okay. Section 4 sets forth that the City Council approves the recommendations of the Bullitt County Joint Planning Commission with restrictions as set forth in the zoning restriction agreement attached as Exhibit A. Said restrictions are as follows. 1, only B1 uses as defined in the official zoning regulations of Bullitt County for B1 zoning shall be allowed on the subject property, with the only exception being use of the subject property as a 2-lot. 2, no vehicle shall be parked or stored on the subject property for a period of time greater than 1 year unless ordered by a court of competent jurisdiction. 3, the term tow lot means a holding place for vehicles that is operated by a towing company and regulated by KRS 281.92 to KRS 281.936. 4, the terms of the zoning restriction agreement are deemed as covenants running with the land, which do touch and concern the land and are intended to burden the subject property and benefit the city. And 5, the current property owners of the subject property shall take all necessary action to record the zoning restriction agreement in real property records, including but not limited to the subject property's chain of title in the office of the Bullitt County Clerk in a manner required to put the future successor in title on record notice of the zoning restriction agreement. Section 5 sets forth that the Bullitt County City Zoning Order and the Bullitt County City Zoning Map shall be amended to change the zoning of the subject property from B1 Highway Business to IL Light Industrial with restrictions as set forth herein. And Section 6 sets forth the severability clause. Section 7 sets forth the repeal of prior ordinances in conflict with the ordinance. Section 8 sets forth the publication requirements. So, Peyton, did that sound good? I basically, because this is what's getting published, I wanted to include the restrictions so that that gets published. It's another way that arguably future owners will have notice too.
We're agreeable to that, and I think that makes sense, so thank you.
Oh, and Mike, to answer also your question on title searches, what's great is when you put it in the chain of title, that you are actually, and if you purchase it, you are, the court would say that you have constructive notice of it. In other words, if you fail to do a title search and you buy the property, then you should have known because it was there. So even if you don't have actual knowledge, you have constructive knowledge. So that also protects the city in that manner. So just another element. So that's, was there any changes? Because next reading will be the final. We can't make any, and we have to have a vote next meeting because the deadline, the 90 days is 2 days after that one. So do we like the way this reads?
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
Well, thank you all very much. I
Yeah.
appreciate all
No,
the comments and the
you know,
time. We really appreciate it.
No, thanks, Peyton. We appreciate coming up.
Tell Hayden to come next time. I mean, we had an hour-long battle royale on the phone. Thank you.
Thanks, Peyton. Appreciate it.
Peyton, I think he was afraid to face her in person.
All right, obviously, thank you, council, and obviously, this will protect them, and then, like I said, we'll regroup and do what we want to do as far as that whole zoning. All right, no executive session, planning and zoning, we got our updates, the last meeting, Board of Adjustments. If you didn't go to the last Board of Adjustments, it was probably the most exciting one in years, right, Tom? It was almost 3 hours long. Yeah, it was a packed house, and but there's obviously some things that need to be really considered as things move forward, and we've got a case coming up September the 9th, Trinity Church. If you don't know about, no, that's, 26th. It's gonna be the second.
26th.
I'm sorry, 23rd.
Or
whenever that.
Yeah, it's the 23rd, it's 23rd. So it's it's moved from the September 9th to the 23rd, for them to come out for the public. So again, when we talk about things that are happening in planning and zoning type of things, I'd like to see a different approach for the folks that have the idea and who they're gonna affect, to have those folks actually spend some time together and talking together before it ever gets to us. Because if it doesn't, it seems like all they get is a letter saying, we're having a notice, we're having a public hearing, and then they bring their pitchforks and torches. Okay, and that's not the way this should be. There should be a lot, if you're going to do something that's and it's gonna be detrimental or perceived detrimental, then it should be discussed between the two parties first. And that's what we're doing with Trinity. I've got both of them working together right now, talking to each other, to try to figure out if that's truly what they wanna do. Can they make those concessions for the people that live there and make it feasible to do that operation?
I've been talking with them too.
I have too.
Making suggestions on
Yeah.
questions I think people would ask.
Mhm.
Honestly, when you make your presentation, these things that you need to think about when you come to the table.
I thought they were gonna be here tonight.
Huh?
She acted like they were gonna be here tonight.
It's not a
They
public.
initially thought that the hearing was tonight,
Yeah, they did.
because their attorney reached out to me.
Oh, she knew that hearing wasn't tonight. She
Oh.
texted me.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
she did the other day, she thought it was,
Yes.
and I told her no, it wasn't, that it wasn't until, our meeting night at 6 on
Yeah.
the 23rd. But, yeah, if y'all need to reach out to them, if you've got questions now, it'd be great to send them questions now so that they.
Well, they're walking
prepared.
the neighborhood too, talking to people,
Yeah.
so that's good.
That's kind of the way that's how I've encouraged them to do that. And the reason why I told them to do that is because that's the whole, that should be the new setup for all
I
this.
suggested they hold a meeting in the church and do a tour with the neighborhood.
I also connected them with Clint, so
Yeah.
Saul that lives back there, and he's kinda talking to people also, so.
Yeah, there's just gotta be a better, the process is the way it is now, it's very intense. I mean, everybody gets so angry, because they think that they're getting a short notice, they come in and defend themselves. And I think if they take this approach now, 6 months before you get to it, by the time it actually comes to us, there's a whole bunch of folks that are informed. Instead of what we've seen. A lot of times it's about feelings and opinions and stories about things, and the only thing we really need to make sure is when we make decisions up here, they're based on the facts. Okay, that's the thing you gotta deal with, so. I hope that this is a new way to do it. Let's see how this turns out. All right, department reports. I got two of my fine chiefs back here. Come on up here, Jody. Come on up just for a couple minutes. Share what you're doing and tell people, you got almost a full month, man. You're like a veteran now as a chief, right? You can push that little button on top.
Let me see,
There you
do
go.
you have gray hair yet?
No, it's falling out, man. It's been a busy month. Again, we sent some great individuals up to a training academy up in Indianapolis for more training, ladders and trucks. We finished confined space rescue training this month and also rope tech training this month, just to get all of our guys. And also we're getting ready for water season, which is water rescue training also. Ramping up for all the new fall events that Amber brought up tonight. We have tons and tons of schools. October's Fire Prevention Month, so we're really hitting it hard with all the festivals. And also, the local football every Saturday, which opens up from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. at night. So we're up there, try to be up there all hours if we can, if we're not busy. And our run volume is really, really busy. So that's what we're doing in the fire department. So,
Yeah, you've actually taken it to another level on the community commitment piece. I think that's really kind of cool to watch, especially like the football. That was kind of a good thing. And I know that you've got a couple of gurus there on the Facebook and social media, so that they're really getting things out there. I see all the time. I see more about our fire department, so that's kind of cool too. Yep, good stuff, man. You guys have any questions for him? I mean, he's almost a veteran. Just get through this month, and he'll be done. He'll be ready to go. Knows all the answers, right?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, thank you, Chief. We appreciate it. You can leave it on. The Chief's coming up here next. Come on, Chief. Come on, Chief.
I think we need to be kept on separate sides of the room.
That's it.
I
Okay.
can tell it's gonna be trouble.
It's gonna be trouble. Okay. If we need to do it, we'll figure it
I
out.
think Wayne was a calming influence, and I think he throws some fuel on the fire. No pun intended.
No fuel on the fire.
But,
Yeah,
and
to
believe
the
it or
fire
not, I just
department.
thought of that as I was saying it. So, just got a couple things. We had our first meeting here Saturday with some people showed up to the neighborhood watch, trying to get that started. Well, we learned some things from Sergeant Roeder. Just say he's been up. We've got 3 sergeants up in Richmond right now. They're finishing up their last week of supervisor school, and Matt had been up there 2 weeks and came in on his basically one day off this past Saturday to put this on. I think some people took some good information, and we've got a basis to now start trying to spread it out more. So we'll do some more things. I think the next meeting will probably be during the weeknight, maybe try to do something. It's, this time of year, you got football games started, you got school started, so we'll try to get a good time where we can get maybe the word out and do a little bit more on the social media. And I'll talk to Tom too about trying to do something before the next one. So we'll try that. We're continuing on with trying to get more community involvement like we've been talking about since I've gotten here. I walked out and forgot to get the exact numbers, but my basic thing has been go out, be seen. A lot of our officers were doing things all along as far as extra patrols and all that, but I don't think we were doing a good job of capturing it on the computer, calling out on things. This January we had, like, for the month, the Sheriff's Department posted all the numbers for all the Bullitt County agencies. I think we were about 1,900 runs, contacts. The next 2 months it dropped down to about the previous average, about 1,100. We're now like 2,800 contacts the last 3 months. And all this is, whether
because of summer, possibly?
it's just, we're having them code things in better, and I think they're doing it. But everything as far as any runs, they go out, they do extra patrol in a neighborhood. They go check on a business. It's all keyed in. Basically just showing so that when you or anybody from the community calls in, well, okay, we've done this in this neighborhood, or we've done that, and we spent this time. So we're just doing a much better job of documenting it. But there's some other things I want to try to do in the future that get the community engagement even better. And a lot of these with Amber, she gives us plenty of opportunities to mingle with the public with all the events we're planning. And we'll take that and we'll run with it because it is an opportunity. The mayor's fond of saying that, but it is. Every chance like that, it's a chance we get that first time to make a good impression, and hopefully we'll take advantage of it. So that's what we're looking at in the next few months, and I'll open up to any questions that y'all have of me.
I just want to say this, the neighborhood watch thing, it really needs to come back. If we're gonna deal with some of the things that are happening outside of our city, that we can't control them, but we can minimize them, and we can give the best intel is a human. That's the best intel, and get pictures. Do not engage when these things happen in your neighborhoods, but if you
we
get.
don't get to get deputized?
Well,
make arrests?
Okay. They get one bullet. All right, so, but, yeah, so.
But Sergeant Matt's presentation, his PowerPoint presentation was really good, so, yeah.
Well, he actually came to me about this whole program about a year ago, and then we've had some different things come up where we're trying to start it in the direction we wanted to go. So he's gonna be spearheading that, and like I said, once he gets back next week, he'll be able to start back into it. And I know we've already got the signs for neighborhoods, new ones, go see where we need the stuff and get the word out, and we'll run with that.
So he is gonna start doing other meetings. I kinda suggest maybe like, doing them separate, like, makes it easier on him. He could have some for like people in the northern part of Shepherdsville. Cause if you get too many people in here, it's gonna get chaos.
Well, that's one of the things too, is we need to get everybody in here just to begin to start with. But what we would like to break down is everybody's got a neighborhood app. Maybe there is something specific, that's where we can get people to start, but as some of them do have that, that's a way to individualize, hey, this is what we're seeing in your neighborhood versus, like you said, this part might be something completely different. And we can kind of tailor the message to that neighborhood.
Chief also mentioned a good point, because of technology today, they're gonna get access to your ringtones. Being able to get.
But that has to be.
I get it. Permission.
By the person's choice.
Right.
Yeah, but my point is to have that, but
Right.
I get my point is, if you've got a tool like that, and you give them access to it, that's a really big deal. And then, try to remedy. It's just going to be that eyes and ears are gonna make the difference. And we just want everybody to encourage it, because I think that program just really fell off, and it's like nobody cared about it anymore. But I do think in this day and age, we talk about the way it's a different world we live in today. And be able to at least be more eyes and ears on, make sure you keep, again, some simple things that Officer Matt brought up. He said, you talked about just locking your car. Don't leave your valuables in it. Close your garage. Have lighted areas. Don't have shrubbery that closes, that's around your windows. I mean, just some simple things that we can all help each other with. And the biggest thing is, we have an elderly population that we should be really keeping an eye on. You know, if you got neighbors that you've had for a long
That's
time,
my
you've been there,
neighbors.
keep an eye on 'em. Yeah, keep an eye on
And
'em.
we do that. My street, we watch after each other.
Just team captains on streets would be a big way to get this
Mm-hmm.
thing started. So getting somebody that'll do that, be a good thing. to
How
start.
would
So
you get the word out to like, okay, you know where I live, so we're not a subdivision like Mallard Lake or Heritage Hills or whatever. So how do you reach everybody in that area, or should it just
I
be
suggested-
individual streets?
I suggest, you know, like the cheap little, like, you know, like campaign signs.
Yeah,
You put them at the front of all the neighborhoods to let them know. They do, and the only reason I thought of it was because at where my parents live in Cool Springs, when there's a neighborhood meeting, they put a sign at the entrance. So when
Okay.
you go by, you see the sign that says, hey, we're gonna have a meeting on this day. So I had suggested that, you know, at the beginning, at the front of all these neighborhoods, put a sign that says, hey, City Hall Neighborhood Watch Meeting, so.
okay.
But
Well, and I
because
also,
everybody drives.
I mean in the app thing too, because
Yes.
we don't, like, we're neighborhood, but we're not we're not a subdivision, we don't have a name.
Those will work where you have that set up, but like we're talking about, before the next one, we can go out and make those signs up and put them in every, you know, like there's a few streets back in there, and as not opposed to a neighborhood, if you got a neighborhood, just the entrances, you know, leave them in.
I'd be glad to put 'em up in
Like I
my
said,
area,
we'll
but-
just, yeah, and that might be where we just start going out and knock on a few doors and say, hey, can you spread this for us?
Okay, and I'd be glad to help Matt with that.
We'll take any ideas
Okay.
to get that word out better.
Okay, thank you.
Chief,
Oh, and thank you for today.
Okay. No problem.
I know.
thank you, Chief. Brenda, would you like to add something to this?
Emotion?
We're almost there. We're almost there. I gotta get through the council real quick. But I know I talked, so Tom and I put together about 20 projects already for them. If you've been in the park, you'll see some changes. We're just taking out old shrubbery, the willow that was hanging there by the pavilion, it's gone. The tree that's above the cannon is gone. All of the shrubbery that was right there, it's all gone. We've redone we're gonna redo the pavilion. We're gonna put brand new bleachers there. So the two that when we got there are only 3 steps up. We're gonna bring 3 nice ones there. And then we're gonna fence it off a little bit so it really looks like that area can be that amphitheater area for a couple of years until we actually get to build the one that's on the other side of the park. We wanna have something nice out there. We're gonna be working on that. So I walked with Paula and some of the beautification group. So we walked the park. We're gonna put more mulch down around the trees and really put aesthetically, make that really look nice while we're working on the other end. So you'll see some things like that. There's a pavilion and there's a pickleball stuff that's gonna be on this side, on the Buckman side. So you'll see some things in the park to get started with. But Tom and his group are getting started, and they've been doing a great job just getting some of these things done. So I'm pretty excited about that. All right, so that's what Tom's not here. I talked to sewer department. Seems like they're doing fine. They've got obviously they're still trying to fix that thing there where the Long John Silver's is. That was a big cave in right there. So it's a big area that we got to try to get fixed up. And for everybody does know, I think Smoothies is going into that Long John Silver's. All right.
Is it Tropical Smoothie Cafe?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yep. Yep. All right. Council members. Brad, what do you got today? Nothing. Got nothing today. All right. I saw the cake that your wife made and put it on Facebook.
Yeah, look good.
All right. Hurry up. Next, Paula. What you got?
I'd like to thank Deanna for coming tonight, and I'd like to see you after the meeting if you don't mind. Okay? Thank you.
Faith, what you got?
I have nothing.
Okay. Uh-oh. Going on vacation? All right. I'm saving Bonnie. Jennifer?
I went to the Hagerman's talk in the park. Yeah, which was, it was very informative. And I got questions answered myself. I asked them about the pipe and stuff like that. So, actually it was very informative because they actually discussed the bid process for the park and for the downtown areas. So actually it was very informative.
Yeah,
It was different than what I thought it was gonna be, but it was good.
Yeah, they were really setting that up for the public just to come out and have subcontractors. That wasn't even anything the city did at all.
Yeah.
That was something that they did.
Right, yeah, I was confused because nobody was there
Yeah, Amber
but
put it
me.
out
I
there,
was
but
the
it
only
had
city
nothing to do- it
official
had-
there.
Facebook and that was taken off.
Yeah,
But it wasn't,
but I
but it
still
wasn't,
went.
yeah, it wasn't the city.
Yeah, but it was good. It was a
Good.
good thing.
Well, good. Thank you, Ms. Jennifer.
Yes.
All right. Mike?
I thought you was gonna save the best for last.
No, I'm saving Miss Bonnie.
You already
Hi.
commented, you haven't commented yet.
Mike, what you got?
You mentioned, and I agree with you, you mentioned that we need, at the public meetings and such, maybe more notification. We expect more people to show up to get their opinions. I know we don't voice anything or vote anything at that time, but I just went back to the last Board of Adjustments meeting, and, or no, I guess it was on the church out here on 44, I'm sorry. 3 people showed up to represent people that advocated for it. 7 or 8 showed up not wanting it. None of them are here tonight. There's a lot. Huh?
It wasn't on the agenda.
Well, I'm just saying, public meeting. So, I mean, none were here tonight. Maybe they'll show up at the next one. I don't know. But then again, that gives us even less time. If we ask questions, less time to research it afterwards. But I agree, there should be more community. And I think I heard from someone that was on the board that some part of one of the decision they made, or the way that they decided, was that nobody showed up. So
Yeah,
you can't make a good, educated decision without input.
well, like I said, if you get these folks engaged 6 months before it ever comes up to the process that we have in government, I think you're gonna find it to be a little more settling. Everybody will know where they're at, instead of all this angst and these emotions that we see in a lot of these
Right.
things. So it's very combative, and that's not helping things.
Reach out to the people too, they help.
Well, that's what, that's what's that's gonna make a difference.
I think all of the council members got an email from a couple of people requesting a meeting on that out there to express their concerns and whatnot. I know I had a 2-hour
I gave
meeting
them
with
all
them. Bonnie, I think, and Faith had others, and Paula did. But in this whole process over here,
The whole trend.
they didn't show up. I mean, they showed up, I presume, representing me, that they were representing the church, and giving their input about how things were gonna happen. They were no part of the input process when it came to someone other than us needing to know that. So,
Okay.
that's where rumors get started, and I hate those.
No, that's where they get started.
So, I'm done.
I think, Bonnie, dun, dun, dun.
Finally, saved me for last. Not because I'm the best, it's because I'm longest. No.
No, you're not the longest.
Most combative, most contrary.
Yes.
There, see?
Yes,
I knew
yes,
there was
those
a
are the
reason.
words.
I knew there was a reason. I don't have much to say today. Thanks for listening to me on the tow lot thing. I think it's important for us to fight for the little people. As you see, I don't want to start fighting. I don't like to quit. Thank you, Ms. O'Connell, for your thing today. I remember well the story of Miss Dishon. I was part of domestic abuse myself for 20 years, so I do, understand. We do need to fight for people like that. I had nobody to fight for me back then. You'd never tell it now, because I'm the new person. I learned to fight. We'd have to take it. So Tom remembers, don't you? You covered the story.
Remember.
Yeah. But yeah, if we don't help people to fight for that, because they need a voice. So I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. That's all I got.
All right, well, thank you, Miss Bonnie. All right. Mike, it was very different last meeting. We didn't know what to do. We just stood up and walked out. We didn't know what to do. We were lost.
You could call me.
We should have put him on speakerphone. That's what we should have put him on speakerphone. We'd have taken care of. Right, I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
I
And
second.
there you go. Now we're back to normal.
Yes, now we can leave.
Whatever normal is. Go get that cake, Brad.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yeah, we go.
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Paula.
Yes.
All right, thank you all. A little lengthy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for.
Deanna, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll get with you. We'll just make a time. Let me give you my cards. I'll give you one of my cards and we'll go walk out.
Brenda, here.